Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're listening, watching the replay of this. Thank you for joining us this April for our Around the Table. And around the table this month, we have myself, Tim Clark, Leon Beckett, Chris Moore, and Sharon James. So I am Tim Clark. For my sins, I am the chairman of the ICONUK organisation, and I'm joined this week by Leon and Chris and Sharon. But before we get into the rest of that, we have an announcement to make. So if you go to the next slide. We have already announced this. I know 350 something views on the video that we put on YouTube. We are not running a ICONUK live, if you like, this year. A whole bunch of reasons, but and you can watch the video to check that out. It's on a YouTube stream. We are still running these around the table meetings, so don't think that these are going to stop. These will still happen on the second Thursday of every month, and we will be, as I say in the video, we will be trying to see what we can do about doing some kind of face-to-face meetup, but right now the stuff that we needed to work didn't work, so we can't commit to running a live event in September. So I am, and I know that Steve and Sharon and Marissa are also equally sorry about that, but we just couldn't commit to it, I'm afraid. We couldn't do what we wanted to do, and the stuff that we had been doing wasn't working for whatever reason. So yeah, we need to rethink that, and we'll get back to you with updates on the webinars as we go through the year. But the Around the Table webinars will continue, and we have a cracking one lined up for next month. So stick around to the end and look at what's coming up next. Okay, so Leon and Chris are joining us again this month. We've got new Wild Man of Borneo picture for Chris this month, and I see that Leon's starting off with some designer George Michael stubble there in his new picture. So I'll leave it over to the Beard Boys then for the what's new in the world of IBM collaboration this month.
Awesome, thanks Tim. Good day everyone, Chris Moore here. I'll be taking you through the first set of updates in the world of IBM collaboration, and I'll be splitting it half and half with Leon. So what we're covering is a couple of updates to IBM Verse, some to Connections Cloud, both from a feature functionality and from an admin perspective, and then Leon will give a highlight to what we're offering from an application insights perspective, and then we'll move on to Sharon for updates to Connection 6 and other things as well. So what's new with IBM Verse in a few updates? So first up is on the mobile side. And so what's happened so far is that there is now threaded conversations within Android. Of course, the Android mobile app for Verse is quite feature-rich in terms of not just providing mail, calendar, and contacts, but also doing some of these social sides, so integrated connections at the same time. But now navigating across mails are a lot easier, and the visibility around different actions and urgency and thread count is also in there. It's been in the iOS app for quite some time, but now it's in Android as well. Something to note that's coming soon with Android is that if you're looking at any encrypted mails within the Verse app on Android, you have to type in your password again. That is going away in a very recent update that's coming up extremely soon. So yeah, less pain for reading your encrypted mail. And there is, just to highlight that, there are updates coming pretty soon for the iOS app as well, some updates to usability, as well as the ability to accumulate all of your mail if you wish to do so. So that update will be coming to iOS very soon, so watch this space. The ability to automatically show remote images. So previously, if you were to load up an email with images in it, then it would prompt you, like you would kind of any typical email client. For security reasons, it would provide the ability to show it on demand. But now you can make that automatic from the settings page, so you don't have to do that, that you can allow that at a user level to show images within the email. So great. An update to the Outlook of support, because support for Microsoft Outlook, we support Outlook 2010, 2013, and 2016 on Windows. you can, moving forward, accumulate more than 30 days of mail. What that means is when you initially set up Outlook Mail Sync, as time goes on, you will start adding to that mail. So it won't be moving forward as a day goes on, you lose the 30th day of mail. You'd essentially add on as you go up to the space of 50 gigabytes, which is, of course, the limit of the standard limit of the mailbox within Connections Cloud anyway. So that's really good. So you'll get more and more mail as you go and get access to that mail offline within the Outlook client. So that's the updates to Mail and Verse. So what are the updates to IBM Connections Cloud? So what's coming, it was missed out this recent update, but it's coming very soon, is that we've updated something simple as the like button within Files. Previously, it was a face icon, which if any of you use any social media tools or use any consumer tools out there, a smiley face isn't used quite a lot out there as a visual icon to like something. So we've put in a heart as a more common use of visual design around liking an item. So we're putting that into, well, it's already in Connections 6, I believe, so, and will be coming to Connections Cloud very soon. Later around Connections Cloud Admin, a bit of a push around the fact that we now support, as part of our partnership, integration with Cisco, Jabber, Spark, and WebEx. So if your organization has chosen to invest in the Cisco stack for telephony or IM or team conversations or meetings, you can now embed that capability within Connections Cloud. And just to give you an idea of what that is, I'll just start showing my screen here. There we go. So this is Verse, an example, the UI of Verse. If you were to enable WebEx or Spark or Jabber integration from a Jabber perspective, wherever there's presence awareness within Connections Cloud and Verse, so here, for example, the default would be to use the built-in instant messaging service in Connections Cloud. But if you integrate Jabber, then as soon as I launch this, it will launch your desktop Jabber client, whether it be Windows or Mac. From a meetings perspective, enabling that integration will allow you to get access to your WebEx meetings or a one-click button to host what's called My WebEx Meeting, because if you have WebEx, you have a dedicated meeting room. So that's a one-click launch to that. And of course, you'll be able to embed your meeting links within your calendar as well. So you won't need to copy and paste links into a calendar invite. It'll already be there. And that includes Spark team rooms as well. It's very simple to set it up, just almost a couple of tick boxes within the Connections admin console, as well as some tying in of integration on the Cisco admin side as well. But this is really the start. We're going to be adding a lot more in terms of integration, of both surfacing Cisco technology in IBM Tech and doing the reverse as well. So this will be added to as time moves on. So let's just come back to our deck. There we go. And another recent addition is Connections Compliance for Social. Now, for quite a long time, we've had something for, it's historically been called IBM Archive Essentials, which is now called Connections Compliance for Mail, which is an add-on to Connections Cloud that allows you to do compliance, archiving, e-discovery, legal hold around mail. Now, thanks to Actiance, we can now provide this capability for all of the other services within Connections Cloud. So you think about instant messaging, meetings, people posting on people's profiles. You can imagine in a highly regulated environment, that is something that's quite important. But now that's an add-on that's available for the whole of Connections Cloud, not just mail. And it is an add-on, so it's a purchasable add-on, but it gives you all the ability to very quickly do legal holds and save a lot of time and money if you need to do that on the data that you're using. Even set up real-time monitoring and alerts for specific keywords. So if you're running an internal project that has a specific code word, then you can monitor for mentions of that, so you can see exactly what's going on. And even if people delete certain comments, like for example a comment on a blog, someone might complain about something and then the person who posted it might remove it, this will retain deleted conversations in that context. So extremely powerful and extremely useful. So those are the updates from a Connections Cloud. Well, just half of the updates to Connections Cloud at this point. And at this point, I'll then move on to Leon to cover the updates from a development extensibility point of view. So over to you, Leon.
Thank you very much. So let me just take the share in, and there we go. So there's been a few updates as well from a developer perspective. So, and this is a sort of a new section to this, because previous updates that we've presented on these webinars have been more around the usability, the actual updates of features, as well as from admin perspective. But there was a good chunk of developer perspective updates to Connections Cloud, so we just thought it just warranted its own little section. So moving along. So first and foremost, there's this concept of extending Verse. And so what you can now do with the organization extensions that are available inside the Connections Cloud admin panel is enable you to extend Verse, and at the moment it's in 3 separate ways. And so, and I've got these screenshots here. So first and foremost, you have the concept of the Verse business card. And so by default, you've got the items on the left, so the view messages, stop following, view profile, etc. But what you can do is start to add in your own links to this. So if you want to, if you've got particular applications that are internal, or you want to promote other platforms where someone has some information or some extra context, like we have in this example here, like LinkedIn and Twitter, then you can do so and add those to your specific Verse business cards. So a nice way to extend and just provide a bit more context and information about people while you're using IBM Verse. The second way is within the mail read context. So on the right-hand side of the slide, you should see that there's the ellipsis that you can drag down, and it has the view people, analytics, the share message, the blog. But below that, you can see there's a couple of applications that have actually been integrated into what this Verse experience. So being able to open this mail in a CRM system, but also one to actually move this email into a Watson workspace space, so that we can take that email content and have the conversation in that real-time manner. So some nice couple of integrations, and of course, depending on what you want to do, it just allows this place allows you to extend Verse in this way. And lastly, in the screenshots in the middle, we can see in the Mail Compose menu, we've got a nice integration combining the composing of mail with Watson Tone Analyzer. So as you can see by my very angry email to Chris, as I need a slide deck sent to me as soon as possible, I can get the tone of my email analyzed, and then just double check, actually, maybe I should talk to Chris in a bit of a softer manner. And so these are the 3 of the areas that I can extend Verse in terms of the business card, when people compose a mail, and also when people read a mail. And so over to you, developers, in terms of trying to take advantage of these extension points. Another area that's been open for extension and customization is the navigation bar. And so first and foremost, and I'll take you through these in a minute, so some of this what I've done in my own organization, is actually customize the navigation bar with your own links, your own menus, and also potentially removing some of them as you so wish, depending on how you want to customize your cloud organization. So if I just share my screen with you, the entire screen. And so now what you'll see is my cloud organization here. So if you focus in on the navigation bar, you'll notice there's actually something a little bit different to this navigation bar. And so what you'll see is actually, where's communities gone? Actually, I've decided for this, for the purpose of demonstration, but also for my organization, that I didn't want to have the communities menu inside the navigation bar. I want to present that in a different way. And so I've decided to remove that. Much the same way of my network menu item. I've just decided, you know what, most people don't use that to get to their network. They tend to go to their My Profile. So I've just decided to clean up the menu item and remove my network. But also I want to actually add some aspects to the navigation bar to provide some extra ways to get involved, for my organization to get involved with content. And so first and foremost, you'll see that I've got the ICONUK on YouTube link directly into my navigation bar. And so if I click on that, I get taken directly to the YouTube channel where all the replays of this webinar will be held. And if I just jump back, and you'll see I've got a new menu item that's specific to Greenwell. So if I navigate this down, I've got a link directly to the IBM website. Maybe I want direct linkage into DeveloperWorks so my users can get direct access to this tool. Or maybe it's even specific communities, or as I mentioned, I've removed my community, so I just want to get direct access to that in a different way. So I've actually created this as part of my intranet menu so I can go directly to my communities. Or maybe I want to present one specific community in the navigation bar at all times, and so I can get direct access to one of these communities. Very quickly, what does this look like? Well, in the admin panel, what you do is you go into the organization extensions item inside the administration panel, and you essentially create these organization extensions in here. And as you can see, I've got all these different organization extensions based on the different things I'm doing. So as you can see, here's the icon on YouTube, link in the navigation bar, the intranet menu. I've got my delete communities and remove my network. So essentially, I've created an extension to each of those aspects of that navigation bar, and it controls that as appropriate. And so again, get your thinking caps on, have a think about how you potentially may want to alter your navigation bar and determine, make it more personalized, make it more suited to what your organization requires, and go right ahead. And so if I now just switch back to the slide deck. And that one. So, and what will be coming soon as well, so that's from a Connections Cloud perspective in terms of navigation bar. We'll also be bringing this so business partner applications who can already take advantage of the navigation bar, but can also now take advantage of this customized navigation bar as well. And also the concept of a dynamic navigation bar. So as the screen real estate moves, what is presented on the navigation bar actually changes with the size of the screen that's made available to it. But this isn't the only place as well. So also what we can do is extend Verse Mail as a hook before you send a mail. So there's always that use case, before someone sends the mail, are you sure you want to send it? Is the participant list correct? Have you checked the spelling? And maybe you just want to just poke the user just to say, check these details before you send the mail. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Send the mail. And so again, this areas are now open for development, so people can go along and create their application to interrupt the user, to make sure that they're happy, and then they can send the mail. And so whatever use cases you would like to think of, again, that extension is now available for you in Verse Mail. And also a custom name picker. So depending on organizations that you may work for or help support, they may have use cases where there's multiple departments, multiple geographies, people have the same names, or it's just you want to try make it easier for people to identify the people to send mail to. And so now we're extending the Verse so you can actually create your own custom name picker. And so the example on screen here is allowing someone to search by geography, so whether it's in North America, within the Littleton or MA. And the way to get that, once you've got your name picker, the to field inside the compose window actually becomes clickable, so that actually you can invoke the name picker, choose the person you need to send the mail to, and then carry on composing as you would normally. And so that's now available for extension as well. And so moving along in terms of the agenda, so what we also highlighted was application insights is available. So if you attended or viewed the IBM Connect OGS, it was announced around Pan Agenda's application insights we've made available to IBM Domino customers, and the announcement letter was released as of the 11th of April. So Domino customers who have active subscription and support for either Domino Enterprise Server PDU or Domino Utility Server PDU can go onto their support page and download an entitled version of Application Insights. And what this entitled version allows you to do is to analyze the top 50 most accessed or most used and most complex applications that you have running. And so if there is more than 50 you want to analyze and go beyond that, that will be a case of talking to Panagenda to have more entitlements. However, what this allows you to do is those top 50 most used applications. It allows you to get a dashboard view of how they're being used. Is it rich client, browser, mobile, understand who's accessing it, and just give you some information and insights into the status of the domino applications. So it enables you to make decisions around, okay, well, which ones need to stay as is, which ones would we like to modernize, and it just gives you a bit more intelligence around, okay, what we want to do in terms of our application strategy. So if you've got those entitlements, go ahead and get downloading for that. Also, we've mentioned this a few other webinars, but just to highlight it, since it's so close now, since it's the 13th of April today, but now 3 days' time, it will be the new way to learn sessions will be kicking off. So if you haven't signed up yet, where have you been? But get signing up and take advantage of all this wonderful content, business partners that will be out there in terms of everything that's going on within collaboration and collaboration solutions. Also, just wanted to highlight an event that's going on. So if you are in the UK or UK based and you want to come down to South Bank and see all this wonderful things that are going on in collaboration solutions, then please sign up for our IBM Connect Comes to You events. It's ibm.biz/CCTY 2017 to register. So go ahead and please register, and you'll see myself and Chris, and actually his beard is that big, so it's not just a picture. But also, if you're not UK based, do just reach out to your friendly local IBM rep to find out details on other Connect Comes to You events that may be going on. And also, as of 2 weeks ago, Connections 6 was made available to download, offering things like Orient Me, enhanced communities, a retake on the concept of files with the concept of My Drive, user onboarding technology, and much, much more. But rather than steal the limelight around that, let me pass you on to Sharon James, who's going to take us through all of the things around Connection 6 and also talk about Connections Pink.
Excellent. Cheers, Leon. Right, so can you whip me on to the next slide, if that's okay? So Connection 6 obviously came out a couple of weeks ago. It's, as far as the Connections base code's concerned, it's not a massive update to 5.5, but it's got a bunch of enhanced features, which is great. But the big thing is the Orient Me piece, which is going to lead on to the stuff that's going to be enabled for Pink. So as far as what you need for straight on Connection 6 without Orient Me, it's the usual suspects, I'm afraid. So this will be the last release that you get to play with your favorite software, such as WebSphere, the IBM HTTP server and the plugins, your lovely DB2 or Oracle if you're brave, and TDI. So it's not a massive enhancement to what you're already used to for installing, but there are new versions of everything, so you do need to go and download at least the latest fixed packs that are required. The OS is supported, still include AIX and SLES Linux if you're that way inclined, but as far as I'm aware, and Chris and Leon, please correct me if I'm wrong, at some point they will be going away and it will just be Red Hat and Windows only. You can... There's a deathly silence, so I'm assuming that I'm correct.
I say yes, but what the system requirements page says. I remember Tim teaching me that is the font for knowledge and truth.
That's exactly why I put the link there. So the full system requirements of exactly what you need are available on this beautiful, very easy to remember link, which you can Google as well if our slide isn't available. But as far as your standard install, which is very simple to get up and running, once I managed to finally download the software, because Passport Advantage and Fix Central were quite busy on release day of when Connection 6 was available. I managed to get it up and running within a few hours, so it's very straightforward if that's what you're used to doing. Can you whiz me on to the next one, please? So as far as the new Orient Me piece, it's a completely separate download that you have to install. So when you go and download your files for Connection 6, you will not find what you need available in the downloads. You have to get it from Fix Central, and you do need a Linux server, which has to be at least Red Hat Enterprise or CentOS 7.3. So if you're not a Red Hat Enterprise customer, you can download the CentOS server, which is open source, doesn't cost you anything, to get it up and running. And you can have Orient Me running in a test deployment on a single VM, but it is recommended that when you go to production or in a sizable environment, that you must have 3 VMs or 3 physical machines to split the pieces up. But for a simple test deployment, you only need 1 machine, and it is, I say, a fairly simple install because it's a single thing to download. It's a single zip. Everything's in the zip file that you need, or will go off and download what you need from the zip file. It's called Orient Me 6, not the hybrid cloud.zip as listed in the documentation. If you did what I did and go and search for hybrid cloud.zip on Fix Central, you won't find it. So make sure you search for Orient Me and you'll find it. And you must select Linux as the operating system. Otherwise, again, you won't find it because it is only available for Linux. So if you've got Windows as your operating system and you've gone to download the rest of your files, you're not going to find the piece that you need for Orient Me, unfortunately. So you need to select the Linux as your OS to find it. Next one, please. So as far as installing it goes, your Linux machine must have access to the internet because when you run the scripts, it goes and downloads everything you need. When you read through the documentation, it does kind of sound like you need to go and download some Docker images, but you don't. The script will go and do that for you. And if you're in a test environment with no valid domain name, you're going to see issues when you run the script because it performs an NS lookup and looks for a valid domain name, and your install will fail, as our lovely friend and colleague Roberto found out when he tried this last week. So in a test environment, you can remove the NS lookup from the scripts. Do not do this in a live environment, whatever you do. For testing purposes, totally fine. Doing it live, don't even tinker with them. So the script, when you run it, will go and download, and it configures about 90% of what you need for you. So you don't need to go and download the Docker application, the CFC containers, all the other bits and pieces that you need. The script goes off and runs that for you, which is great. You just literally enter the name of the systems that you want to deploy to, the name of your connection server, click go, and it goes off. Bearing in mind that because it does need internet connectivity to do this, if you have a break in your internet connectivity or there's a problem at the other end, your install's going to fail and you have to clean it up and do it again, which can be slightly frustrating, as I've discovered over the last few days. But keep at it. It will come down eventually. Obviously, this is new for all of us, so unless you're used to using Docker and you're used to deploying things this way, it's going to be new, and it is quite a steep learning curve. But luckily, a lot of the people in the Connection Skype chat and a lot of the champions are already plugging away at this thing. So there are going to be a lot of blogs and a lot of documentation on any gotchas that people find, problems that they've encountered, and how to fix said problem. So you're not going to be alone if you do hit a problem installing this, because there's a bunch of us that are going through the pain for you, so you don't have to. But for the people that have managed to get it up and running so far, and there are quite a lot of them, they say it's great to use, their customers are loving it when they've been demoing it, and it's definitely the way to go. So I'm really looking forward to getting it running on our BCC system, so we can have a really good tinker with it, I think if that's the right description, because it does look like the new way to navigate the homepage will be really useful, because for me particularly, I get quite a large flood of information in, and it was going to be so much easier to be able to stack things into what I think is important, what the system thinks is important to me. Next one, please. So, moving on to the new and improved features that have come in Connection 6. So, we also have onboarding now to help new users that have never used the system before to complete their profile and a whole bunch of guided help to get them used to using applications. So it doesn't know that I'm a Connections user, and it's already prompting me to fill in information about my profile. It shows me how to use certain applications. It pops up a box. I should have taken a screenshot, I'm really sorry. To tell you how to use each one of the new applications. I went to check out the My Drive, which we'll talk about in a second, and instantly, as I went there for the first time, it popped up some help to show me how to use it. So the onboarding will guide any user that hasn't already got information in their profile to fill some of their profile in, and they can quit out of it and come back to it at any point if they don't want to fill it in. But it will help them navigate the system for the first time, introduce them to people that they think should be in their network, other people that have got the same job as them or work for the same manager. So it automatically links a network up straight away. So when you do go to your profile on your homepage, it's not going to be an empty system for you. So that will help drive the adoption of Connections, because one of the things that a lot of us hear is people don't use the system because they either don't know how to, or it's just an empty space for them. There's no meaningful content when they first join. So this is going to be a massive push to help people with their adoption for Connections, which is brilliant. My Drive is a new view of files, which is actually quite handy. It's a single place to gather everything that's file related that either you've uploaded or is shared with you. So think of it a bit like a personal connection style Dropbox, where you've got everything that you think is important in one place. I know we've had things similar before with pinned files and folders, but they're obviously not bundled in one place, whereas the new My Drive has got all the folders and all the files that you think are important to you in one place, so you can see them instantly. And they will also sync with the file sync as well. So that's, if you're a heavy files user, that's going to help you a massive amount. My favourite improved feature is the enhanced communities. So the layout has improved a massive amount. Community owners can hide apps from the front page now and copy community templates. So if you're a heavy communities owner and you've got lots of different communities and they're set up in a similar way, when you do create a new one, you can just copy an existing one, and it will copy the template over, copy the same applications that you've got in and the same page layout, but it doesn't copy the content. So you can have everything you need in one place and then fill it up with the content, which is awesome. Now, I don't know really what else to say about Connection 6, other than it's fantastic and everybody should download and install it now.
So, Sharon, Leon, can you go back a couple of slides for me? I just wanted to pick up on a couple of things. Yeah, one more. Okay, so this URL on the right-hand side there, we're going to stick that in the replay description when we put that up on YouTube. Next slide for me. Okay, the Orient Me sounds really, really good. I've sat with Sharon and listened to the frustration of trying to find this thing. So please take Sharon's warning not with a pinch of salt, but to heart, and actually go look for the right thing. Otherwise, you will spend a frustrated 10 minutes shouting and screaming at Fix Central, as we all do from time to time. Or IBM Software Access Catalog, but this will help you find that stuff really, really fast. Next slide for me, Leon. The big gotcha in here is that your machine must have an internet connection and have a resolvable domain name. We have already found, as Sharon intimated, colleagues and friends that have tried setting this up in a sandbox environment, and it just doesn't work. If you're running on a local machine that doesn't have access to the internet or doesn't have a resolvable host name, then this is going to cause you all sorts of problems. And I suspect that there may have to be a different way of doing this, because not every company is going to want to stick this out there. So point being that this is all version 0 products. So this is all like 6.0 or Orient Me version 1.0. There's going to be some teething troubles and stuff. And Sharon's right. There are a whole bunch of people already trying to work this stuff out and talking about it in communities. If you want to be part of those communities, then let us know and we'll put you into those. We'll plug you into those communities where that knowledge gets shared. If not, just go search in Google for Connections 6 and fix and all that kind of stuff, and put your problem up there, because you will find people blogging about this. And I know that because the people that are blogging about it are mostly going to be champions, and that's why they're champions, is because they do this stuff, they do it in their spare time outside of their day jobs, or it is their day job, and then they go and share that knowledge with everyone else. So you will find a massive amount of resource becoming available very shortly. I mean, bearing in mind this thing's been out for what, 7 days now, Sharon? Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, and people are already starting to. Yeah, people are already starting to share stuff and work stuff out and fix scripts and spelling mistakes in config files and all that kind of stuff that we're beginning to find as people go through this. Next slide, Leon. Okay, I can't wait to get these features. I am a heavy Connections user. Sharon will attest to that, that I use Connections all day, every day. It is my life at the moment. It's where I plan everything. And I use files, and I cannot wait. Oh, Sharon, I forgot to ask. Does the sync do folders? Please say
I
yes.
haven't tested it. Of course, according to the documentation, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
it does,
on Mac,
Chris?
on Mac, yeah, on Mac and Windows, yeah.
Whoa, get in. Awesome. I cannot wait for that then. Sharon, I need that next week, please. I have looked.
That leads me on to migration, which I was just going to speak to briefly. For those of you that want to migrate to 6, you need to be on 5. So for any of those poor souls out there that are still on Connections 4.5, or heaven forbid 3, which hopefully nobody should be on 3.01, you do need to get to 5. So you will need to update your databases to at least version 5 before you attempt to migrate. But the migration path is exactly the same as it was previously. This will be the last time we get to migrate all of that awesome data over, which I spent 21 hours doing it for a customer at the weekend, which was fantastic. So the migration is as straightforward as it was previously. You'll be pleased to know.
Or not, as the case may be.
Yes.
Yeah, depending on where your customer's coming from, or where your data is coming from. If you've got lots and lots of old data kicking about, then it may cause you the odd issue, shall we say, putting it politely. Yep. Or, in other words, it might shoot you in the foot with one of the barrels. Okay. Is there anything else, or is that your slides?
That's pretty much it, I'm afraid. It's
okay, next slide. Go on. So if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand, and we will go back for me. If you want to ask a question, please raise your hand. If you decide that question's been answered and you don't want to raise your hand anymore, you can lower it. Or if you want to request to speak, you can either do *1 on your phone to unmute, and we'll take your question. Or you can just request to speak here on the menu option. So we'll take some questions now, if there are any. There are 12 other people on the line at the minute, so I know there are a few people out there. I want to say a huge thank you to a bunch of people around the community that are trying to fix this stuff. So one of them is Roberto Boccadoro. He's been doing an awful lot of work on Connections 6, and also Gab Davis and Sharon. Those 3 people that I've seen have been working tirelessly to try and get 6 to work and work out what's going on and how it, work out all the bugs and everything for everyone else. And they're going to share that information. I know they will, because that's just the way they are. I've also heard on the grapevine, while we're waiting for some questions, is that Verse on-premise does work with Connections 6. However, there might be a spelling mistake in one of the configuration files in the IBM documentation. So check out the blogs for that, because if you want to get that to work, and I know a whole bunch of people do at the moment, it will work, but there are some things that you'll need to check and possibly change to get that to work. So that's a word of warning. Okay, do we have any hands raised? I don't see any.
We are showing no hands raised at this time.
Roberto Boccadoro has just raised his hand.
Yes, he has.
Okay, Roberto, do star 1 on your line, and you should be able to speak to us and ask your question, or put it in the chat. He's not on the phone. Okay, so if you want to put your question. Hello.
Hey.
Roberto, are you there? No. Okay, ask in the chat then, Roberto, and we'll answer your question. So, Leon, next slide while we're waiting for Roberto's question.
We can hear Roberto. Roberto, we can hear you. We can hear your keyboard. Your question?
Roberto, we can hear you typing.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Roberto.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. Good. No, mine is not a question. It's just a follow-up to what Tim said about Verse on-premise and Connection 6. I work on this problem that's been raised by Gab Davis, and looks like it happens only on Linux, not on Windows, and it's due to the syntax of the commands, the // characters in a line. So I'm pretty sure that Gab will blog about it. I hope she does, because she fixed it, and it happens only on Linux. On Windows, I have no problems. I have Connection 6 and Verse on-premise on my environment, and they're running fine. On Linux, you should pay some attention to the escape characters, and I'll ask Gab to blog about it, because she found out what the problem is and how to fix it.
Awesome. Thank you, Roberto.
Thank you, Tim.
Pleasure. Next slide, please, Leon. Okay, so next month we have another one of these. It's going to be a couple of days after Engage, so we will be back in time to do this. It's fine. We'll have whatever updates get announced at Engage, if anything, and we'll bring those to you semi-live. If you can't make it to Engage or don't watch the Twitter streams or whatever, then we'll make sure you understand what's happened. Also, we'll be talking about, and I'm trying to get some people from Salesforce, Cisco and Box along to talk about the partnership that they have with IBM and what it means for us as customers and administrators and developers, and where they see that going. So it will be, hopefully it will be the partners' view on their partnership with IBM, not IBM's view on the partnership they have with Box, Cisco and Salesforce. So I think that will be quite an interesting discussion. Please join us next month, Thursday the 11th of May at 3 p.m. British Summer Time. It leads me to say thank you for Chris, Leon and Sharon's time this afternoon, and have a happy Easter if you celebrate that, for everybody who's listening or going to watch the replay. This has been ICON Around the Table in April, and we will see you next month.